Hello and welcome to the Movie Scoops podcast. I'm your host Sean, and today we'll be looking at the movie news in the past week. Maybe also be doing some reviews and maybe playing a game. I don't know. We'll see where this takes us. So let's get right into the news. Alright. Birds of Prey underperforming at the box office. It earned a measly $33 million domestically, making it the lowest DCEU box office in history. And I went to go see Birds of Prey, and Birds of Prey isn't that bad of a movie. It's really quite funny, quite good. Deadpool-esque, but not trying to be a straight copyright of the source material. It's a very fun movie, and it deserves more recognition for it. I do understand why lots of people stayed away from this movie. It is hard to forget about Suicide Squad, Justice League, and Batman vs. Superman, the other movies that have been added into this universe, and how, well, bad they were. Now, this movie isn't Suicide Squad. It isn't Justice League. It's its own movie. And I can see why many audiences would stay away from this movie, as it's confusing because it's a Birds of Prey, and Birds of Prey aren't that popular of a character group to be made into a full-fledged movie. Like, if they made a Teen Titans movie, they'd have the recognition since they had the DC TV show Titans, and they had Teen Titans Go, and they had Teen Titans, the original series. But Birds of Prey is just too much of a low commodity to bring people to see this movie. And, you know, we could sit here and say, because it performed terribly domestically, $33 million on a, $85 million budget, I think. And we'd be saying they're not going to make a sequel. They can't make a sequel. They didn't make enough money, didn't get enough recognition. It's not going to work. Warner Brothers are just going to have to throw it in the fire and just say, sorry, we tried. But that's not true, because James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy movies, is signed on to make the Suicide Squad movie, which is like a reboot of the entire movie franchise of Suicide Squad. And Margot Robbie is set to return to play Harley Quinn. You know, it's actually funny. This movie has a star-studded cast as John Cena, Pete Davidson, Margot Robbie, Jai Courtney reprising his role as Captain Boomerang. But James Gunn hasn't released anything else with this movie apart from Jai Courtney and Margot Robbie reprising their roles in this movie. But there are 40, 50 people cast in this movie, and not many people know who they are. We don't know if we're getting a recast of Deadshot, since Will Smith will not return. And honestly, I think this movie will be better. If Birds of Prey is anything to go off, Birds of Prey has some of the best fighting choreography, and may not be the funniest movie, but at least it kids itself. I think the problem with Suicide Squad was that it took itself too seriously for characters that are just stupid. Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn were played very well. They were both pretty stupid characters that did some stupid things and would do things for a laugh because they're both crazy in that way. But you have characters that Will Smith played, the Deadshot, that sits there and has the morality high ground and is I need to get out because of my daughter, and I need to start a new life because of my daughter. But you're a killer. You deserve to be in prison. You killed hundreds of thousands of people. In the comics, he has hundreds of thousands of people. You've been brought to justice. You can't pretend that you're this anti-hero who wasn't a paid assassin to kill people. And the movie just took itself way too seriously. And I just think that Birds of Prey knows that the whole concept of Harley Quinn is that she is smart, but she's not afraid to do stuff that's kind of stupid. And we'll get into that when we review the movie later. But let's continue on. Mulan, the Disney remake coming out later this year is getting a PG rating. Now, this is pretty huge compared to all the other Disney remakes, because, like, Aladdin was a G rating, and The Jungle Book was a G rating, and Mulan is a PG rating. Now, I, in my opinion, am not too keen for this movie. For the sole reason that, like, they're taking out the songs in the movie. Sorry, just give me a second. I'm just going to drink some water. My throat's a bit sore today. Ooh, let's continue. Mulan, they're taking out all the songs, but I did kind of get really excited for the movie when I saw the trailer, and they added in the soundtrack to it, which is the same as the movie, just without the words. But, we may see a lot more violence in this movie rather than in Aladdin, which I'm excited for. We get to see some Chinese fighting in it. Get to see some fighting in there. Get to see some martial arts. It's going to be pretty sick. Alright, let's continue on. SpongeBob prequel movie got announced this week. Man, they're really jumping on the SpongeBob train. I remember when I was a kid, all I would do is just watch SpongeBob, and SpongeBob's just become big meme nowadays, But there's a SpongeBob movie coming out later this year with Keanu Reeves in the role. Not of SpongeBob, but he's in the movie. And they're wanting to make a prequel movie. I mean, what are they going to do with this prequel movie? Are they going to show that he was a sponge in a kitchen and he just decided, hey, I don't like it here. I'm going to take this pineapple. I'm going to jump into the ocean. I'm going to live there. I'm going to work in a food place. And I'm going to have lots of adventures with a starfish and a squid. Like, I don't understand how this is a thing. Like, obviously parents will take their kids to see it. But it's just the whole idea of just making a prequel movie of a show that has been on the air for over 25 years and is still going, and having, like, a movie come out later this year, and they're making a prequel version of it. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. Alright, next news. Daniel Radcliffe, who was previously rumoured to play Moon Knight in the Moon Knight Disney Plus series, has called off those rumours, has said that, no, they're not true. I do not want to play Moon Knight. And honestly, I'm a bit sad about that. I was kind of keen for, these post-teen romance models like Robert Pattinson and Daniel Radcliffe coming into these roles, because as many people know, Robert Pattinson has been cast as the new Batman. And Daniel Radcliffe playing a role like Moon Knight, which is the Marvel version of Batman, would be awesome. Like, I feel like he'd kill the role as Moon Knight, and I'd be really excited to see him in the role. But obviously he's said that he doesn't want to be a part of it, and he's said that he wouldn't be a part of it. Who knows? This could be all big ruse for a big review at Comic-Con this year. But I would love to see him in the role. I reckon he'd do a really good job. I feel like he would kill the role as Moon Knight, and then he would join the Marvel Cinematic Universe and continue it on. Be in the movies, be an Avenger. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on the situation. Now, let's get into the next scoop. The Uncharted movie starts shooting in 4 weeks. Now, this movie has been on the fences for years. Like, they've been wanting to make a movie, and I'm a big, big fan of the Uncharted games. I think that they're brilliant. I love them. I think that they are the most fun games ever. I'd probably say that Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is my favourite game ever. And as many people know, there is a game movie curse, where a lot of the game movies that get made are crap. I mean, you can't look any further than the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Mortal Kombat movies, the Street Fighter movies. Even Detective Pikachu wasn't all... I mean, wasn't all bad. It was pretty bad, but at least the Pokemon were true to the source material, unlike Super Mario Bros. But there is some light to this curse since Sonic the Hedgehog has come back with really good reviews and has become the highest grossing gaming movie ever. And Uncharted is really exciting for me because it's the adventures of Nathan Drake and he's being played by Tom Holland. And, you know, it just seems like a movie that could be really good, like a really good action movie. And this movie has been in development for years. They even made a short film, which I would suggest watching on YouTube, with Nathan Fillion playing Nathan Drake. And it's brilliant. Nathan Fillion is the perfect person to play Nathan Drake if he was younger. Like, Nathan Fillion's in his 40s, 50s. And if he was younger, if this movie idea was a few years earlier, I'd reckon he'd kill the role. But Tom Holland, good luck to you. The movie starts shooting in 4 weeks, and that's very exciting. I can't wait to see what they make. Now let's continue on. The next Planet of the Apes movie has just been announced that it's not going to be a prequel. Now, in the last Planet of the Apes movie, the main protagonist, Caesar, was killed. And they have announced another movie, but they have decided not to continue on Caesar's story through a prequel. Like, Rise of the Planet of the Apes is sort of a prequel because it's, like, shows Caesar as a baby and has him grow up into this ape that's able to speak and able to talk, and how he starts the revolution of the apes. But, you know, Andy Serkis just plays the role to perfection. If you see Andy Serkis's work, he is brilliant. He played King Kong in 2 different movies and made it to brilliance. He's the king of CGI. He played Gollum. He's played this Planet of the Apes character. He's just amazing at it. And I just couldn't believe that they won't continue on his story. They have announced that they are making another Planet of the Apes movie, but it's a sequel. So they're just continuing on the story without Caesar. Alright, next piece of news. Isaiah Bradley has been added to the Captain America and the Winter Soldier cast as the first black Captain America. Now, this is really confusing because Avengers Endgame left everyone not knowing the future. They had Falcon get given the shield when everyone thought Bucky was going to get the shield. And this show got announced and everyone's like, oh, they're going to fight over that shield. It's going to be fun. They're going to have some banter and they're just going to fight Baron Zemo. But then they announced US Agent, which is the US government equivalent of Captain America. When Captain America died, they were like, why don't we just make another Captain America? Here we go. And he was nicknamed US Agent. They've already casted him. He's already in the show. They've already showed set photos of him. And they had him in the trailer. Now, they have Falcon in the show, who's also going to be playing the new Captain America. So that's 2 Captain America. And I think just for fan service, they're going to have Bucky become a little bit of Captain America in it. Maybe for a little bit. Like, hold his shield, maybe do stuff with it. So that's 3 Captain America. And now they're bringing in another one to play the first black Captain America. Like, I'm very excited for this show. I think it's going to be great. But I'm not sure that this show will be able to keep up with fan service demand. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, these shows that they're making, WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier, Loki, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel is all fan service. Even Avengers Endgame, the entire movie is just fan service. And for those of you who don't know what fan service is what pretty much everything that the fans want, they get given to them. Which, in a perfect world, is amazing, but then it just has no shock value in it. Like, a lot of people did want Captain America to hold Thor's hammer, which he eventually did. Throughout the first Avengers movie, that's what people wanted. In the second Avengers movie, they were just like, oh, he almost could lift it, but he couldn't lift it. So that pretty much died that rumor down. But then in the last movie, Avengers Endgame, he just has the hammer. Everyone's so excited. That's why that shock value was so big. That's why no one wanted Robert Downey Jr. to die. So that's why he died. Because it's not fan service, it's supposed to be a shock. Now, these TV shows are all fan service. Like, they killed off Vision, so they made a WandaVision TV show, so they're able to bring the character of Vision back to life. They made this Falcon and Winter Soldier show to show Bucky and the Falcon become Captain America in both and weird ways. And they made the Loki TV show because they killed off Loki as shock value for Avengers Infinity War. So they had to bring him back because he's such a big character and his character arc is so good in the movies that pretty much when he died, that was all taken away. And as you know, his character arc started getting really good after Avengers, the first Avengers. And, like, now that that's all taken away, all of him and Thor becoming brotherly again, becoming the best of pals in Thor Ragnarok and Thor The Dark World, it just ruins the fan service shock value of it all. Like, these TV shows are just to do with fan service. I don't know, but who knows, this TV show series could have lots of shocks, and, you know, they have lots of creative freedom with it. I reckon they'll do very good, but that's just my main worry when it comes to this show. And now, speaking of Marvel TV shows, let's talk about Loki. First of all, a few weeks ago, Owen Wilson was announced that he was cast in the show as an unknown role, but many people have rumoured that Kang the Conqueror, a big Avengers level threat, will be introduced in this show. Now, there are lots of big Marvel villains. Like, the most famous thus far is Thanos. Thanos is a very big villain. You know, he wiped out half of the universe, and it's really, really good storytelling. But the thing is that when you get rid of that big threat, where can you go from there? Like, that was a 21 movie lead up to Thanos' defeat. That's a lot of waiting time. That was 10 years of waiting. Now, there are lots of Avengers level threats. Kang the Conqueror is one, Galactus is another. And, you know, it's hard to picture these sort of characters being introduced in a TV show such as Loki. Like, they may have him have a small little cameo in the TV show, but I don't think he should be the villain of the show. Now, the rumour says that Kang the Conqueror will be played by Owen Wilson. And when I heard that, I burst out laughing. Because all I can think of is just Kang the Conqueror being like, oh, wow, Loki, wow. It just doesn't suit the character. I feel like Owen Wilson will be a side character. He'll be like the Natalie Portman's character from the Thor trilogy. Like, she's in the movie, but she's not really a part of the movie. She's not really a part of the plot, which is one of the reasons why Natalie Portman kind of moved away from the Marvel movies. But now she's back now, but she kind of moved away because of lots of reasons. Like, they fired the female director of Thor Dark World, and Thor the Dark World wasn't very good, and, you know, her character just seemed like the only reason why she has a purpose in the world is just to be Thor's arm candy. And it's just really weird. They have these little characters in there to boost the hero. Like, in Spider-Man, he has Ned. But Ned kind of is a whole character in itself. Like, they expanded on him in Homecoming. They expanded on him in Far From Home. And rather than him being Peter's, like, side friend and not really being, like, a person that could turn into a villain, like Harry Osborn or Norm Osborn, like any of the people who could be turned into the Green Goblin that they used in the Sam Raimi trilogy. They expanded on his character, showing him as like this love-hungry best friend figure, and it's perfect. And Natalie Portman's character in the movies was just, I'm a scientist. Cool, you just told me everything that I don't know about the universe and saying that you're from another planet. Cool, I'm gonna fall in love with you now. Next movie, oh, you're back, I hate you. Oh, I've got something inside of me. Oh, can you help me get it out? Cool. Oh, I love you again. Then never seen again. Like, her character's just paper thin. And I just feel like that Owen Wilson should be a more meaningful character in the show, Loki. Like a Ned character, like a person who can bounce off Loki. I feel like that would be really cool. Alright. Enough of that, let's continue. Taika Waititi speaks out about Valkyrie being gay. There were lots of rumours and lots of fan service ideas to do with the character of Valkyrie coming out as LGBTQ. Now, what Taika Waititi said is that his characters, like, even though he wrote them, he likes to talk to the cast and allow them to figure out their identity, much like, and so he left it up to the actress to decide for her to either be gay or straight. And I think that's really quite cool that rather than having writers write characters and have them have their own sexuality, like, explained for this, Taika Waititi's taking a new approach and allowing the actors to figure out a way to go, much like how Taika Waititi made Thor more fun, more funny, made the character more interesting, because in the other movies he was just bland. Like, not to be rude to Chris Hemsworth, but, like, it was just bland. Like, his character motivation was good, but he just wasn't interesting in the slightest. Like, he's the god of thunder. You'd think that would be interesting, but no. And the fact that they brought him into this and gave him a little bit of comedy and gave him a little freedom with it, it made the character so much more likable and made people so much more excited for the future of the character of Thor. And it's all due to Taika Waititi and his brilliance. And I really think that if the actress who plays Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson, that's her name, sorry, I forgot her name. If Tessa Thompson decides that Valkyrie, her character, is LGBTQ, then that's her decision, and that's exciting for the character. And Taika Waititi is an amazing writer for thinking of that. Alright, let's talk about the Oscars. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Oscars. I sat and watched that show. It was a very weird show that had some very weird performances. They had Idina Menzel, the girl who does the voice of Elsa in the Frozen movies, and also to sing Into the Unknown with all of the people who voice act Elsa from other countries. That was pretty cool, I'd say. It was cool. But then they got Eminem to come up and rap Lose Yourself for some reason. They got James Corden, Rebel Wilson, and dressed up as cats. And, you know, there was lots of weird things that happened in that show. But the awards that were announced were just, I'd say, were perfect. Joker came out with 2 wins, Best Actor, Best Score. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood got a win. 1917 got, I think, 3 wins, and Parasite getting the home run, getting Best Director, Best Movie, Best Foreign Film, and Best Original Screenplay. And it's well deserved. It's a good movie. Taika Waititi getting Best Adapted Screenplay for Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit is just a very funny and very good movie, and it's well deserving of that praise. Alright. Enough for the Oscars. Lots of people talked about it. It was on 2 weeks ago, so let's just continue. Alright. It was announced this week that Friends will be getting a 25-year reunion. Now, I'm excited for this. I think that Friends is a very good show, and, you know, it definitely needed this before. Even though the show started in 1994 and it's 2020, 26 years later, it is still technically in its 25th year, but it was just announced, so they have to write the episode, make the show, get all the actors on board, and Jennifer Aniston is the most highly paid actress in the world, apparently. I read that the other day, and, man, it just seems too much effort for a show, for just a little one-off show. And that's, again, fan service. Like, I went on a rant before about fan service, and this is another example of fan service at its finest. Like, I'm excited for Friends, the reunion. I think it's going to be very funny, very cool. Get to see where all the characters ended up. 25 years since the show began, and 15 years since the show ended. And it's very exciting for that. And it was announced it's going to be an hour-long episode, so that's also exciting. Yeah, very exciting stuff. Let's continue. William Hurt, the person who played the General, I forgot what the General name is in the Hulk and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but he has been rumored to make his debut as Red Hulk in She-Hulk. Now that's exciting. The character has been in this Marvel Cinematic Universe for years, since the first Hulk, and was introduced again in Captain America Civil War, and he was in Avengers Infinity War, and it's just an exciting new thing for the character, because in the comics he plays Red Hulk, which is the evil version of Hulk, and it's really exciting to see him finally transition into that character, and it's very much exciting. Alright, live action Tangled movie in development. Disney, oh my goodness, Disney just are on this bandwagon where they will just make remakes of their animated movies. Cinderella, Jungle Book, Aladdin, Dumbo. They just make these movies and Mulan, they make these movies to, make money. Lion King as well. There's so many of them, and Lion King is the exact same as the original, and it's not very good. Like, the visual effects are stunning, like, they're beautiful, but it looks like a David Attenborough documentary rather than The Lion King. Like, if you watch the movie, took away the sound, just put David Attenborough on, you wouldn't know the difference. But they just want to jump on this bandwagon to make these movies, and they've announced or rumored that they're making a Tangled movie in development. Now, Tangled is a good movie. I don't think it's live action worthy. And that's solely because the movie doesn't seem like it adapts well to live action. That's why lots of these movies were made in animated form, so that they'd have more flexibility. Like, for example, for movies that are better in animated movies are lots of superhero stuff, like DC. Like, if you watch any of the DC movies, like Son of Batman, Batman Bad Blood, Justice League Dark, Justice League War, they're really good movies. But it's because they had so much flexibility with their animation, they're able to bring these stories. Like, they had the Dark Side story be put in, they had the Bad Blood storyline being put in, they had Son of Batman storyline just put in, the Court of Owls put in, and it allows them to have more flexibility. They don't need to spend weeks on end casting perfect people for these roles, because if they don't, people aren't going to see the movie. And it's just this whole big thing to be able to make movies like that. I mean, we as fans have been wanting a Justice League movie for years, since, the Justice League first became a thing. People have been wanting Justice League movie, like, since Batman and Superman were made into movies, like, let's make a Justice League movie, let's keep doing this, let's jump on this movie train. And we got Justice League, and it was bad, but that's for its own reasons. They fired Zack Snyder halfway through filming, and, it had its problems. Much like Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman, which we spoke about before. But, there is some light in the Justice League situation that the Snyder Cut may be coming out soon. As people know, Zack Snyder was fired off the set of Justice League after finishing like 90% of the movie. 90% of the movie. He had 5 hours of uncut footage that he had filmed that they were like, no, we don't want you anymore. And got Avengers director Joss Whedon to reshoot most of the movie and turn it into the mess that it is. Now, Zack Snyder has been on Twitter in the past few months just posting little snippets, little photos, little teasers of the Snyder Cut, even showing film canisters of the Snyder Cut, saying, of course it's real. Even saying that the movie will be 3 hours long. And that's really exciting. Like, most of the actors are on board to come back and film scenes to finish off this movie. And I'm really excited for it. And what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about Tangled. Yeah, Tangled, like, it's just not that good of a movie to be made into a live-action movie. Not saying that the movie isn't good. It's just, it'd be too hard to be able to make convincing chemistry that the two actors who played the people in Tangled have. And I just don't see that happening on screen. Alright. Let's continue. We're almost there. Indiana Jones 5 starts filming in 2 months. Now, Indiana Jones, that's a movie that has been in development since the last Indiana Jones movie, into Indiana Jones 4, The Crystal Skull. And that movie wasn't the best. And when they announced this movie, I was like, Harrison Ford is like nearly in his 80s. And they're coming back to make another Indiana Jones movie. Are they bringing back Shia LaBeouf? I don't know. They haven't released much for this movie, but they've said that it's going to start filming in 2 months. That's exciting. Let's continue. Speaking of Disney live-action movies before, Aladdin has been announced to get a sequel. Now, this is exciting because the Aladdin animated movie had a sequel called Return of Jafar. Now, that movie was famous because it was in the time period where Disney were just like, these were our famous movies. We're not going to spend more money making sequels for these movies. We're just going to downgrade the animation, maybe even get different actors to play these roles, and just pump out these sequel movies as quickly as we can. Like, they made 3 Cinderella movies, they made 3 Beauty and the Beast movies, they made so many Little Mermaid movies that went straight to DVD, and one of these was Return of Jafar, which is actually not that bad of a movie. It's definitely a good sequel, but Robin Williams didn't want to come back for the second movie since it wasn't going to be made into a big movie like the first Aladdin was. So they got the guy who does the famous voices from The Simpsons, I forgot his name, so sorry, to voice the genie, and it wasn't all that bad. But Return of Jafar is exciting, but The only reason why this thing could not work is that, the genie decided, I don't want to be free, I want to be human in this movie. Which, in Return of Jafar, the genie is still the genie, he's just not bound into one person at a time. He can use his magic whenever he wants. And they've decided to make Will Smith's genie human. Not sure where they're going to go with that, but it's exciting. And I'm excited for that. Let's continue on. Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi is the director of the first 3 Spider-Man movies. And he's been eyed by Marvel to direct Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness, since the last director left due to creative differences. Now, they announced at Comic-Con that Doctor Strange will be the first Marvel horror movie. Like, that's a big step in the first place, because horror and Marvel don't mix very well. Like, they haven't made something like this ever, and when they say horror, they're not going to make it too scary. Like, the idea of horror is that, there's going to be jump scares, there's going to be killers, there's going to be stuff like this, there's going to be blood, there's going to be terror. But, obviously, Marvel movies are M movies, PG movies. The worst there'll be is maybe one little jump scare. But if many of you who know Sam Raimi's previous work is that he wrote and directed the Evil Dead movies. Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. He's very well versed in horror movies. And he would be perfect for this movie, and I'd reckon he'd have lots of fun with it. And when reading this and seeing Sam Raimi's being eyed for this movie role, the first thing that I thought of was, it's a multiverse movie. He's going to bring Tobey Maguire. He's going to be Spider-Man again. It's going to be great. But when you think about it, it's not going to work out to be what we think. I mean, that's another fan service thing, as I was talking about before. Man, I'm talking about fan service a lot today. But just with the whole Marvel and Sony deal when it comes to Spider-Man, like, if you haven't seen that deal, the reason why Marvel and Sony had like a brief hiatus from each other was because Marvel wanted more creative control over the Spider-Man movies and wanted to take most of the profit as well, while Sony would take the toy profit from that. And so they decided that Sony didn't want that. But now they've come back together, and now they're making Spider-Man movies together. They've come on to a deal saying that there are only going to be like 5 more Spider-Man appearances in the MCU. I don't think that they would use one of those 5 appearances, because they've already announced Spider-Man 3. They're not going to use one of those 5 appearances as a little cameo by Tobey Maguire as the character in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, if you've seen the Spider-Man movies, they did say a little thing in Spider-Man 2 where they were trying to name the name for Dr. Octopus, and the guy says, "What about Doctor Strange?" And he was like, "That's cool, but it's taken." Which sort of means that either Dr. Stephen Strange is in the universe as a doctor, or they have the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, in that universe. Which is exciting in itself. Like, they could go to that place, have J.K. Simmons there as J. Jonah Jameson, and then have like a little version of Stephen Strange. Like, I think it'd be pretty cool to have all the different versions of Stephen Strange just in like one room. There's like 10 of them, and they're all just like little differences. Like, there's one that's Benedict Cumberbatch, but he's like really short, and there's one of Benedict Cumberbatch, but he's really buff. And it's just a lot of fun ideas when it comes to a multiverse movie that I think Sam Raimi will be able to do well on that. But I don't think that they'll bring Tobey Maguire back, and that's just my opinion. Alright, let's continue. Sony and Marvel announced an untitled Marvel movie coming out. Sony Marvel movie, coming out 2021. Now, 2021 is a jam-packed year full of superhero stuff. Shang-Chi, the Batman movie, Thor: Love and Thunder, Suicide Squad, a whole bunch of movies that I can't think of from the top of my head. And it's very exciting. Spider-Man 3, and now they're announcing a untitled Spider-Man movie. They're also releasing Venom 2, which is also exciting. Now, this could be... I don't think it will be a Spider-Man movie, because they're already releasing a Spider-Man movie that year, Spider-Man 3. But it could be a villain movie. Like, there were rumors that this movie is going to be a Mysterio prequel. Now, Mysterio was revealed in Spider-Man Far From Home to be a worker of Stark Industries, where Tony Stark took his idea and milked it for money, and that's why he went and became a villain. And that's enough of a prequel itself. But any excuse to get Jake Gyllenhaal back in the MCU as the character Mysterio is a thumbs up for me, because he is just brilliant. Brilliant actor, played the role brilliantly. Like, the lead up to Far From Home, I was just watching the trailers, and I was just thinking to myself, like, if it's a multiverse movie, because he said it was from another Earth, that, you know, there could be a good Mysterio, and then in his world, there is a bad Mysterio, and they fight together, and in his Earth, Mysterio is the Sorcerer Supreme, and it's stuff like that, and it was an inevitable betrayal. But even then, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see his betrayal. Anyway, we have 2 more pieces of news to go through. That's exciting. Batman Ninja is giving a live action remake in Japan. Now, what Batman Ninja is a animated movie where Batman and the Joker get sent back to ancient Japanese time, and like before the gadgets and all that, and Batman and Joker are fighting against each other. Like, I watched probably about 10 minutes of the movie and just decided, nah, I'm not gonna watch this. But I might watch this Japanese movie. Like, obviously I'm gonna have to get a new Batman, but a ninja Batman, that just sounds cool. And I'm excited to see what they do with it. Now, you know it was coming. The last piece of news, I kept this especially for last. Robert Pattinson's Batsuit. Now, this Batsuit is just the worst. It's not very good. And I say that because there's only like one thing that ruins this suit. If you look at the set photos and you look at the video that the director released, and you see from the neck down, perfect, looks cool. They've got like the gun that killed Thomas and Martha Wayne as the bat symbol, and in the motorcycle scene that they showed, like, he has like weapons on his wrists and he looks armored up. But the cowl, oh my goodness, the cowl is shocking. It's clothy. It has like sunglasses tinted in there, and it just doesn't seem Batman-esque. Like, obviously, if you're making a first-year Batman, if you're going to go with a clothy mask, you got to go with the clothy suit. If you're making a high-tech body, you got to have like a high-tech mask or something protecting of the mask. Because Batman gets in a lot of fights. He gets guns shot at him all the time. You don't want to have one spot on your body where you can get shot and you can get killed without protecting yourself. Now, he has the neck down, looking protected. Looks like he gets shot there and he'll be fine. But his cowl looks like if he gets shot in the head, he's gone. He's done. And, you know, a lot of people are angry at the suit because the cowl looks like Daredevil's mask, which I can agree with. Now, it works for Daredevil because Daredevil isn't that much different to Batman, but Batman is such a character where he wears the suits to protect himself more than Daredevil, because if you know Daredevil in the comics, and in the TV show, he can hear people from miles away. He can hear the heartbeats. He can hear them move. He doesn't need that much protection. And even his mask is bulletproof. Robert Pattinson's mask isn't. Now, there is rumours saying that that's not the only Batsuit that will be released in this movie. Which I hope that they bring in another Batsuit. But, just the Batsuit from Batman vs. Superman, all that movie, even though they were shocking movies, the Batsuit, Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne and Batman, was just great. And it was really sad to hear that they weren't going to make a Batman movie with Ben Affleck. And, another piece of news this week, which is to do with Ben Affleck in the Batman movie, was that he released why they didn't want to make the Batman movie. And he said it was because his marriage was ending and he was drinking a lot. And he wrote the script for Batman, and they sent it off, and they said it was great. He just wasn't up to making the movie because his marriage was ending and he was drinking himself to death. Like, that's what he said. He said he was drinking himself to death, which is really sad. Now, I've been on board for Robert Pattinson in the beginning. Like, as I said when we were talking about Daniel Radcliffe before with Moon Knight, like, these two men were men who were loved over for years for these stupid love movies. Not much Daniel Radcliffe for the Harry Potter movies, but for Twilight, that's what Robert Pattinson's character was. And, you know, he's an amazing actor. Like, The Lighthouse is an amazing movie with Willem Dafoe. But they just need to fix this thing. It's just important for the character to be taken seriously, not to be taken as if, this is a pretty cheap suit. This is a billionaire who will probably get shot in the head on the first day. Like, it's just not good. Alright, that's all the news for the week. Let's get into some reviews. Alright, Birds of Prey. Now, I said before that we'll be talking about Birds of Prey, so let's just get right into it. Non-spoiler review, and then we'll do spoilers. I'll do spoilers afterwards. Birds of Prey, very, very fun movie. I thought it was very fun, very, very much takes itself seriously, very funny, very lighthearted, and has a clear-cut story, even though it's jumbled up in bits and pieces. Like, there are some flashbacks and flash forwards, and they have character descriptions in it, and just what I said before, it's a fun movie. Very Deadpool-esque. It's an MA movie, or R if you're in America. And it's like Deadpool, like there's a lot of swearing, lots of F-bombs in the movie. But, you know, it's just a good movie. And I'd see it again. I think that it gets a bad rap for the Suicide Squad movie. Margot Robbie is just brilliant in the role of Harley Quinn. The only thing that I'd say is wrong with Birds of Prey that really stands out is just the name of the movie. I know that's pretty stupid to say, but Birds of Prey, but it's a Harley Quinn movie, which actually they had to do in some places in the US. They had to change the title of the movie because not many people were seeing it, so they had to change it to Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, which it should have been the name of the movie in the first place. Like, or swap it around, Harley Quinn and the Immaculous Adventures of the Birds of Prey, rather than Birds of Prey and the something Adventures of Harley Quinn. Like, it just doesn't seem like the right title for this movie, which is fine now that they've changed it and everything, and they've allowed this movie to be out. But as I said before, it was the lowest movie box office domestically ever for the DCEU, and that's really sad for a numbertude of reasons. Like, it's really good, all the actors are great. Ewan McGregor is just brilliant in this movie. Loved him. It was kind of sad that they couldn't get Jared Leto to come back as the Joker, which, as it's pretty obvious to tell that he's upset because Joaquin Phoenix is the most successful version of the character. Like, even though Heath Ledger was brilliant, he didn't win Best Actor. He won Best Supporting Actor, but he didn't win Best Actor, which is controversial. Like, me saying this right now is very controversial when it comes to the fact that Heath Ledger didn't win Best Actor because he wasn't in the main role. He was in the supporting role. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that both Heath Ledger and both Joaquin Phoenix played Joker to the brilliance. They were both amazing in their roles. But Jared Leto, on the other hand, for that role, wasn't the best. That's just my opinion. I didn't mind the character. I didn't mind the character of the Joker in Suicide Squad. Like, I think I'm probably one of the biggest supporters of Jared Leto in Suicide Squad. I think that his character was good for his source material. But I think that Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger, played the role better. That's just my opinion. Alright, yeah, the movie was lots of fun. I've said that so much, but that's really the only word to explain the movie without getting into spoilers. Yeah, it's a lots of fun movie. There's lots of fight scenes. The fight scenes are very well choreographed. Like, they're just really good choreographed. Like, if you've seen movies like the Bourne movies, the James Bond movies, they struggle with jump cuts in their fight scenes, which is self-explanatory, so they do multiple cuts to show fighting scenes, while Birds of Prey didn't do that. They'd have like a solid 3-second, 5-second clip of just a 5-second, 10-second clip of just brutality. And Margot Robbie is just great in the role. The actual Birds of Prey, Black Canary, was really good. Huntress, brilliant. Renee Montoya, very, very good. Victor Zsasz. Victor Zsasz. That's another thing that I can say wasn't really very good. Victor Zsasz in the comics is a psychopath. That's the only way to explain it. He kills people, and when he kills them, he scars himself so that he can keep count. I think the best version of this character is from Gotham, because rather than making him a lunatic who just kills people for the sake of killing them and carves it into himself, he's a hitman in Gotham, and he does scar himself once he kills people just to keep count. But I think that's cool, that's his character. But in this movie, he's just like the little puppy dog for Black Mask and does whatever he wants, and, you know, he just doesn't seem like Victor Zsasz. He seems like a wuss, pretty much. But anyway, let's get into spoilers. Now, the ending of the movie of Birds of Prey, only thing that I didn't like. It's only because Ewan McGregor was just so good as the character. Like, he was very, very funny. Like, he played the role to perfection. He was funny, he was psychotic, he was just great. Like, there was a scene where him and Black Canary were, like, in his house, and he's, like, showing her all of his masks, and then there's this mask of a face, and he's like, oh, do you like it? Yeah, I got it from this, like, place in Africa where they carve people's faces off and turn them into masks. And she's like, that's cool. And he goes, no, it's disgusting. Like, ew, why do I have this in my living room? And that's just really funny. I love that idea of the character. He isn't just like a mob boss, like a Godfather-esque character. He's a mob boss that is human in a way. I don't know, that's probably the best way to explain it. And Harley Quinn in this movie, like, the whole movie follows Harley Quinn breaking up with the Joker and being her own person, because lots of people are saying that to her, that she cannot be her own person because she needs to be told what to do, and she needs to be the sidekick of the villain. And once she breaks up with Joker, even for a few weeks after she breaks up with the Joker, she, like, still pretends that they're together, so she's able to get the benefits of doing stuff. Like, she breaks the guy's legs, and, like, she drinks at Black Mask's bar for free, and then she decided, hey, I'm sick of the Joker, I'm gonna blow up where I was born, pretty much, where the Joker birthed me, which was as chemicals. So she blew it up, and then everyone in the city was after her, because that was like a big clear cut of the Joker. Joker and her are broken up, and now she's up for grabs, because she had pretty much total immunity from everyone, the cops, gangsters, and now that she doesn't have that protection anymore, everyone's after her. And, you know, even just like little pieces of the story get threaded into another story, which is to do with the Huntress. Now, the Huntress's storyline is that she was a part of a family that was gunned down, and she survived and was taken into a assassin training camp, which could have been the League of Assassins, but they didn't explicitly say that. And she was trained to be a killer and came back to Gotham to kill all the people who killed her parents, including Victor Zsasz, which wasn't until the end. But while Harley Quinn is running away, Huntress shows up, kills the guy that was one of the people who killed her parents, and then drives away, which I think is cool. Rather than like explicitly explaining the storyline in one clear version of a movie, they like just had multiple different storylines going at once. Like, Renee Montoya is taking care of this little kid, the main person of the movie, like the main little girl. I've forgotten her name, but also trying to get Harley Quinn by taking down Roman Sionis. And then Black Canary's working as a singer in Roman Sionis' bar, but also trying to get him in jail. And Harley Quinn's trying to stay alive after the Joker. And then there's Huntress, who is trying to kill off everyone who killed her parents, including Victor Zsasz, who works for Black Mask. And I think that's really cool, because they've allowed this multitudes of storylines to flow through a movie, rather than just having Harley Quinn and doing her thing. And there was some pretty weird stuff in this movie, like she obsessed over a egg sandwich that, like, when it gets destroyed, she starts crying, and like, it was really funny. And the movie just continues, and Harley Quinn gets taken in by Roman and told, I'm going to cut your face off. And she's like, I'll help you. And then Roman sends her to go get this diamond. Like, the diamond storyline is another thing that I didn't like in the movie. Like, what Roman wanted was this diamond that was Huntress's family's diamond, which had the account number to their riches. Like, that's just complicated in itself, the idea of that. But that's what he wanted in the movie. Overall, the movie's really good. The ending which I forgot to say, pretty much they attach a grenade to Black Mask and blow him up. And it's really sad because, I'd love to see the character again. I'd love to see Ewan McGregor come back as the character, but they can't now because they killed him. That's what makes me sad, because he's played the character so good. Well, we can dream, we can have fan theories that they're going to bring him back, but they won't. Overall, I'd give the movie a 7 out of 10. Would go see again. Go and see it. Really good, really fun. Let's get on to the next review. Alright. Our next review is a Valentine's Day special. Oh my goodness, Valentine's Day. It is To All the Boys I Loved Before, P.S. I Still Love You. Now, I wouldn't have watched this movie if I didn't have to. I watched the first movie on my Netflix because I was bored one day. And so I watched it. I was like, this is stupid. And I was like, okay. Looks like I'll never have to watch this again, because they definitely aren't going to make a sequel to it. Which they did. Netflix are just on board with making Noah Centineo romantic comedies. Like, there's so many, and they're all so bad. Like, there's one called Swiped, where Noah Centineo is a bully and bullies this guy into making a dating app for them. That's Tinder. It's stupid. And then there's another one, Sierra Burgess is a Loser. That's probably the king of terrible movies. Netflix just make these terrible love story movies, and they do great, but they're awful. Like, I can go on for an hour about why a movie such as Tall Girl are just stupid. But they're chick flicks that make a lot of money, so that's why they keep making them. Now, this movie, To All the Boys I Loved Before, P.S. I Still Love You, the only reason why I watched this movie is because they added in this actor who is a part of this musical, called Dear Evan Hansen. Now, this guy, has just been cast as the new Evan Hansen, and very talented, very good singer, and I was really excited to see him in the movie. And pretty much the storyline of the first movie was, it was a girl who, whenever she fell in love with a boy, she'd write a letter to him, but then have it up in her closet, and her sister decided, hey, I'm going to send these, and they're all going to be sent around, and it's going to be funny when it's not. So, like, she has to deal with sending all of her personal love letters being sent to these people, and having to deal with that. And I think she sent out four letters. She sent out, like, one to Noah Centineo, one to her sister's boyfriend, which is messed up enough, and one to another guy, and then she sent out to another guy who was, like, who moved to another state. And the whole thing in this movie was that this boy who moved from another state got the letter and returned, which is interesting, but the whole movie just seems like that little in-between part between movies, that little sliver of stuff that, can be summarized up with one sentence in the next film, is the whole movie. Like, it's just like, oh, we had some troubles. I met up with the guy who I sent the letter to, and we hit it off. He likes me, but I'm still in love with this boy. And it just has no real balance to the movie. And I wouldn't suggest seeing this movie unless you're really, really sad and you like these kinds of movies. It's not very good. Now, I'm going to go on to spoilers now. So, pretty much the whole storyline of the movie is she and her boyfriend are like, it's Valentine's Day, I love you, and she's like, I'm going to go work at this retirement home and help out there, which that boy from another state goes there and works there too, which is weird. And they all, like, meet up and with their old friends, and they sit there and they have a good time, and, like, they pretty much smoke the peace pipe, which is a saying, here in Australia, which just pretty much means they made up. And then at the end, she's like, "Oh, I don't like you anymore. You're just a terrible person for what you do to me. And I'm going to go hang out with this boy who I sent a love letter to. And you know what? Screw you." And that's pretty much it. And then she goes to this boy. They start dancing, and she's flirting with him the entire time. He kisses her. She says nothing, runs away, finds her boyfriend, and makes up. That is the whole movie. It can be summed up in one sentence, but they made a whole movie about it. Like, it's just stupid. Like, To All the Boys I Loved Before is a book series that has been adapted into movies. It's just, it hurts my brain to think about that becoming a movie thing. I don't know. Yeah, it's just stupid. Alright. And so there's our reviews done. We've done the news, and I guess that's it. So, I'll be recording another one of these podcasts in 2 weeks' time, just to get more news, more time to go see movies. Next time, we will be reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog, which is exciting. I'm really excited to watch that, and maybe another movie. I haven't decided what movie I'm going to review yet, but, that's what life is. We're just gonna take it on a journey. Maybe we'll watch Parasite, Richard Jewell, I don't know, Bombshell. I don't know. Let's see where it takes us, and I'll see you soon. Bye.